Moving on to dividing polynomials. If you have multiple terms in your numerator, first you're going to want to split them up. So you can just individually divide them by your divisor. Then you're going to divide out your coefficients and then your variables, kind of like multiplication. So for example, in this first example here, we just have a single term being divided by 5x squared. So we're going to start by dividing out our numbers. So negative 10 over 5 gives us the negative 2 here. And then we've got x to the power of 3 over x to the power of 2. Okay, and so that would be x to the power of 3 minus 2, which is x to the power of 1, or just plain x. So we get an answer then of negative 2x. In the second example here, first, since we have multiple terms in our numerator, first we're just going to split up that denominator. So that's the same thing as our first term, 6x squared divided by 2x, plus our second term, 4x divided by 2x. Then for each of these terms, you're going to divide out the coefficients. So this first one gives us 3. And then if you divide out your variables, it'd be x squared minus 1, which just gives you a single x. And then in the second one, you would have 4 divided by 2 gives you 2, and x divided by x just cancels out. So we end up with 3x plus 2. So go ahead and try some of the exercises, pause the video, and then come on back to check. Okay, and let's do some of these exercises together. So this first one, we're told to divide x cubed plus x squared by x. So the first thing we're going to do is split up that denominator. So this would be the same thing as x cubed, or I keep saying that, but it's x to the power of 3 means the same thing, divided by x, and then plus x squared divided by x. And now we just have to think about our exponent rules. Remember, this x is an x to the power of 1 in the denominator. So we have x cubed divided by x to the power of 1. They're the same base, the same variable, and so we subtract our exponents to get x squared. And same thing with the second one, we would get x to the power of 2 minus 1, which is x to the power of 1, or simply x. All right, next one, we're taking 4y squared z, and we want to divide that by negative 2yz. Okay, so we divide out our coefficients to get negative 2. And then our variables, we've got y squared divided by y. That gives us y to the power of 2 minus 1, or y to the power of 1. So we just end up with a y. And our z's just cancel. So our answer then is negative 2y. All right, number 3, we've got 9t squared minus 3t, and we're dividing that by 3t. So I'm going to start by splitting up that denominator. So this would be the same as 9t squared over 3t minus 3t over 3t. And so we would get 3t minus 1. Okay, because we could cancel out everything in that second term to just end up with 1 over 1, which is 1. All right, next one, we've got 8y squared minus 4x plus 6, and that's all being divided by 2. So let's split that denominator. So each term ends up getting divided by 2. And then we're going to start by dividing out our coefficient to get a 4. And our variables here just stay the same since there's no variable in the denominator. So we get 4y squared minus 2x plus 3. All right, next question. We have 4ab being divided by negative 6b. Okay, so we need to divide those coefficients. Here we're not going to get a whole number though. We could actually divide each of these by 2 to get a 2 and a 3. And so when we simplify that, we get 2 over negative 3. And then our a just stays as it is. We don't have an a in our denominator. And our b's cancel out. Okay, so those cancel out. So we just end up with 2a over negative 3. Remember, with fractions, the negative sign can be on the bottom, or I could have written that negative sign on the top like this, or I could have written it in the middle. So all three of these are equivalent correct answers. All right, next one, we've got m to the power of 3 minus 2m being divided by m. So step one, let's split up that denominator. And then we'll do each of those divisions individually. So we've got m to the power of 3 divided by m to the power of 1. That gives us m squared. And then minus, our m's would just cancel here. So we end up with just minus 2. Okay. And we've got quite a few, so I'm going to stop this video and do another video for the second half of these.